Imagine you're now ready to go with a great story idea. So you sit down to write and you believe that this part will be a mere formality, but soon a gap opens up between your expectation and reality. You get bogged down in that first paragraph. If you're like me, you could spend ages agonizing over crafting the perfect first sentence before you've even got an outline, or spending so much time on finding the ideal word. This results in one or two outcomes. The first is that you stick with it and eke it out painfully, agonizingly, or the second is you just give up. This points to the biggest mistake people make when writing their first draft, is to try writing and editing at the same time. In reality, they are completely different processes that require entirely different mindsets. The writing phase requires an open, spontaneous mindset. You really need to go with whatever comes into your head in the moment. The watchword here is quantity and not quality. The more you get down on the page, the more options you'll have to choose from later. And 9 out of 10, they may be rubbish, but you'll have that one golden nugget that you can run with. I think in the writing business, we need an equivalent to the theatre phrase, which is to break a leg. We really want to go out there and make that first draft as ugly or as hideous as possible, having something like that just to take the pressure off us. Editing will draw on a different side of your personality. This time, it's all about decision-making and judgment. You need to have a laser-sharp focus on what you're really trying to achieve in that passage and filter out what you've written according to those strict aims. This time, the watchword is all about quality. Now that we've explored the need to separate out these two phases, what are some tips for achieving that in practice? The first thing is that you can choose different environments for the two elements. So for writing or brainstorming, I like to go out where there's a bit of noise, I can people watch, I can daydream a little bit just to keep the ideas flowing and nice and loose. Whereas for editing, you might want to pick a quieter environment where you very much have a narrow focus. The second tip for writing is to cover up what you've already written. You can do this simply by scrolling down to your current line on your laptop or inserting a page break. For editing, you want to wait for a period after you've completed your first draft. Stephen King puts his manuscript away in a drawer for 6 weeks so that when he comes back to it, it's fresh, as if the manuscript was written by an entirely different author. Another useful tip is to change the font or the font size, anything that makes the document look different now when you're editing compared to when you were writing. By separating out the writing and the editing phases, you'll let go of the need to be perfect from the get-go and allow yourself to get into a flow state, generating a constant stream of ideas. That way, when it comes to the edit, you'll have a great number of avenues that you can pursue, and they'll be guaranteed to be more creative, more original than what you could have written if you'd had the editing mindset from the get-go. I'd like to finish with a challenge. Take just 5 minutes and write continuously. Do not stop. You'll find, if you're like me, almost straight away your brain wants to go back and revise what you've written, or you may want to pause to think because you fear that you're running out of ideas. Resist those temptations and just keep moving. Force your brain to move as fast as your hands on the laptop. I hope you'll be surprised by the sheer quantity of words that you managed to get down and by some ideas that you would never have thought of before. So have a go. If you enjoyed this video, you can like or subscribe or let me know in the comments section below. I'd be particularly interested if you took up the challenge, what word count you managed, and how you felt during the process.